I'm Phil.
And this is our Mudlarking Happy Hour. Welcome. Lovely to see you. I've been watching the chat as I've been sat here. Yes, I am sat here.
Yes, Caroline is sat on my, there we are, look, you can see behind her, my luxury, beautiful chair. I am sat on Caroline's office chair on 4 pillows, because I'm the dwarf tonight. If we take the pillows away, then I would be sort of this side.
Which just looked a little bit silly.
So we pumped the chair up as high as we'll go. We put the pillows on because Caroline's got a body foot.
I have. I woke up and my foot was really hurting and it's all swollen around the ankle. I think possibly it was I twisted it awkward when mudlarking. So
yes, I've
got to go away on Friday and I am determined that that is going to happen because we're going to see our grandson for the first time in like almost 2 years. So yes, I'm resting this foot to death. And
that leads into the fact that there will be a live show next week. There will be a live show because our son has supersonic internet.
Yep.
He runs his own YouTube as well, and he's invited us to run the live show from his home. So
right. Live from Hastings.
We're going to be 4.5 hours away from home. We're going to be on the south coast. We're going to be where the famous battle was fought in 1066. Hopefully we'll do a collab with our boy, which would be great after not seeing him for 18 months or more.
Yep.
And of course we get to see the little one. So lots of things happening, but there will be a live show. It's just this lot won't be here. Nope. Hopefully Caroline won't have a bad foot.
No.
Goodness knows what it will be like.
Surely in like 5 days' time it'll be better. I've got it strapped up and I'm trying not to walk, so yes. Fingers crossed.
Right. Now then,
let's get on with something.
Yes. Now would you like to say who got in first? While I discreetly run in the other room and get my laptop. Because I managed to get me on camera, or 3 seconds on the countdown.
Well done.
And I've got the questions. And in fairness, my hands are nice and clean because I've just literally dried them after washing the fines. Yeah, look. That one didn't make it. Sorry, that one didn't get washed.
Wasn't enough time.
That one didn't have enough time. But we've got plenty of nicely washed fines. So Caroline, you check who got in first. And I will go and grab my laptop.
Now, there's no surprise. There's usually one of just a handful of people are first in, and the first in is Adam's Advanced Adventures. So congratulations, Adam. We're going to have to make a t-shirt. I beat Adam, and everybody be thinking, what do you mean I beat Adam? Just a second. I'm all over this screen tonight. Jill, £10 super chat. Thank you, Jill, for ice and heat packs for that ankle. Oh, thank you very much, Jill. Oh, that's really kind of you. Thank you.
And I hope you're feeling better, Jill, because I'm sure it was yourself that commented yesterday that you were feeling under the weather. I think you were saying that you'd had the joy of being with your grandchild, was it? They brought you a lovely bug, which they left behind and left you feeling poorly and slow on the keyboard. So I trust you're feeling better.
Right, second in was Penny Howard. Well done, Penny. And in third place was Alison Cutler.
Ooh, got a few mix-ups in the names.
And Jack just missed it by coming in fourth.
But it's lovely to have. Is that rain?
Wow, the rain's just started.
Good grief, it's pouring down.
I don't know if you can hear it. It's very noisy.
It hasn't rained in over a week. It's been gloriously warm and now it's chucking it down. Fortunately, I have non-creosoted my stuff.
Jeff, thank you. Jeff's given us a £10 super chat. Hi, Shed Fund donation. Thank you.
You're a gentleman.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Jeff. That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
I am really looking forward to my shed. So I was deeply disappointed this week to get an email telling me that it has been further delayed. They delayed it from the original delivery date. I said to them the delivery date they gave was no good. I wanted to put it up before I left and went away, and I was going away for a few days. They moved the date forward and now they've moved it back and now it's up in the air. So being the mild-mannered man that I am, I have written to them and I have told them in ever such polite terms what I think of them and told them while I don't want to cancel my order, having waited now for this many weeks, I do feel they're having a bit of a laugh. But I do appreciate in the real world that there's been blockages in canals with ships that were stuck. There's been containers that were laid up. So although it's a British company and making it, they're in Horsforth, just up the road in Leeds. We know Horsforth. We have friends there. That's where they're based. But of course, so many of the bits today come from the other side of the world. So, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen this summer. and there's going to be a
Allegedly.
workshop
This summer, this autumn.
Caroline's dumping ground for all my junk, and a studio and a workshop and a shed.
My house is full of furniture ready for Phil's shed.
I've had a wonderful time. I've had a wonderful time at auction.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a desk and I've got a chair. I've got an antique chair. I've got an antique elm chair. It's a cracker. I've got.
He's looking. He's thinking, "Can I show them?" No, you
No,
can't.
it's
There's
too
no
big.
room.
And I've got a desk. That's over 100-year-old. And I've got a cabinet. You wait till you see my cabinet. I will do a video, I tell you, just on my cabinet, because it's got 10 drawers in it. It's about this wide, and about that deep, and it's about that tall. And it was made by some old boy in a shed. It's made out of planks. It's literally made out of planks. You can see where he drew the line, sawed it off, and hammered a nail through. It's brilliant. It is a complete shed job, and I'm gonna get that. I'm going to lovingly accommodate it in my new shed, and I'm going to fill every drawer. I'm going to have sea glass, I'm going to have china, I'm going to have tiles, and you'll be able to be along with me, see me fill that thing up, and Caroline will be there just beaming as she sees the space, so that she'll be able to walk to her utility space at the back of the garage without climbing over fines. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Anyway, keep them talking. I've got to go and get on my laptop.
Lisa said, "Thank you for the craft goodies. I'm amazed at your generosity." Lisa's bought some sea glass and things off us. I'm glad you like it, Lisa.
Oh, that's great. I'm so glad they arrived.
Yes.
I'm always relieved when parcels cross the pond and get there. We've only lost one so far, which is phenomenal. So that's great news from both sides of the water with the delivery companies. They've only lost one. Of course, coming the other way, it's not so easy because Margie, she's got a pair of gloves she bought that are still in Brazil. But, things can happen, so it's always lovely, not only that you're happy with what you've got, but also that it's got there.
Right. Richard said, "Don't advertise to burglars." Well, on two counts. One, this is the advantage of having somebody living with us. If we go away, if you go away and you've announced it, you get broken into, and you've been telling everybody on social media, the insurance company cannot cover you.
Yeah, they can null and void it.
But fortunately, we've got somebody who stays here when we go away, so okay.
I've got a 30+ tech support, Tim's son, who lives on the premises.
That's right. And if you're talking about the shed, if they break into Phil's shed, take these glasses off. If they break into Phil's shed, you get up. Look.
I'm interested in what you're saying there.
Okay.
I'm hanging on every word. I'm hanging on every word.
If they break into Phil's shed, then are they really going to be tempted to take lumps of rusty old metal, bits of broken bottle, bits of broken plates and china, and one of them, which is something that we never even know what it does?
And I'm building the shed around the antiques because they won't fit in through the door and they won't come out after.
The desk Phil bought is so big that it won't come out of the doors or go in the doors.
It is petite for a Victorian desk. It is. You've got to
but they're not designed
to go in sheds.
No,
it's out of somebody's office, obviously. But I'm going to mix it up. That shed's going to be my kind of shed. Nobody'd want to nick what I like. That's one thing with unique taste. Nobody's going to nick what I like.
Oh, Lynn said, "You're not going to see much of Phil when the shed arrives, Caroline."
Oh, she will.
Oh, yes. I'll be taking cups of tea up and down all the time, don't worry.
Yeah. The other problem she's got is I'd probably be, "Are you going out in the garden, love?" "No." "All right." Because I know it sounds nuts, but I don't like being even upstairs when you're downstairs. I'm terrible. And the worst thing is I always follow Caroline into the kitchen. And I say, "Well, where should I stand?" And she said, "Love, in a kitchen, wherever you stand, you're in the way."
If I want it with the cupboard, he's in the way, so he moves in front of the cooker, then I need the cooker, so then he moves in front of the sink, and then I need the sink, so it doesn't really work. Right then, so Phil's still working at what he's doing, so I'll show you a find. Now, I don't know how this is going to work, so I'll show you my Eiffel Tower.
Oh, yes.
Because
and now, officially, I've washed it, I've had a look at it, and I'm going, having been up it, the Eiffel Tower. So James popped out bubble yesterday and he said you should have done the Blackpool Tower, but I'd say Eiffel.
Yeah, I think it's
got the 2 levels because we went in a lift from there to there, and then I said, "Well, we haven't got to go all the way, love." I said, "Well, we're 2/3 of the way up," and I was wrong. We were 1/3 of the way up, and we walked all the way up through that ironworks. And by the time I got to here, I was in tears because I was so afraid.
Phil really is scared of heights.
I was so afraid.
He's crazy. He's going to go. And coming down was worse, I think, for you, wasn't it?
But it was on our anniversary, wasn't it?
Didn't he come down were to walk up and come down. I can't
No,
remember
we
now.
walked up
We
and
walked
down.
up and down, right.
There's no way, there's no lift in this part.
Right.
It only goes up to the deck there. So we went all the way to the top, but it was our anniversary, 25th, wasn't it?
Mm.
And I had said we're going to go to the top of the Eiffel Tower, forgetting, because my memory's that bad, forgetting how bad I am with heights. And I should know, because we'd gone up in a cable car earlier in the holiday, and I'd froze.
Mm.
But we got there.
We did.
We did.
Oh, it was amazing at the top of the Eiffel Tower. I think I've said this before,
It
but in
moves.
case you haven't heard, when the wind blows, you can just a very slight swaying in the top of the tower, which I loved. Phil was not happy.
Now, Jeff, you've made an excellent point. When is Caroline getting an art studio? I did suggest that we should get another studio building on the opposite side, so then she can be in hers and I can be in mine, and we can wave to each other out the window.
I don't think a shed's going to work for an art studio though, because all the paper's going to get damp, anything powdered is going to get damp, so I'm going to have a studio in the house. But at the moment, my business is taking up 2 and the conservatory, nearly 3 rooms, so there's not really room for studio.
And this is our studio for all your editing, mixing and everything else, plus packing
plus
room.
eBay storage,
Plus
packing, plus my computers are all over there. So
But we may be able to do something in the longer term future. We may be able to move things around and come up with some space.
Juggle it around a bit and see if we can find me a room, because I'd love a studio. And when I film, then you see these art channels, and they're there and they've got everything laid out beautifully behind them, and everything's colour coordinated. And when I do my art, I tend to just keep the camera down, because it's easier than clearing all the mudlarking things away off the shelf and doing that. And then the table isn't wide enough to do art on, so I'm trying to cram everything into a very narrow shelfy type table. So I am really looking forward to a studio of my own.
Also, with regards to this, when it came to cleaning it, this was astonishingly clean. And astonishingly clean.
We put down, we're astonished.
And I realised why when I was cleaning it, because if you look at the top there, that is very small. That I don't think this was liquor. I think this was possibly
toilet water.
Toilet water. On this size, and to be honest, that is very thick glass. There's hardly any, whatever it put in there, there's probably 50 mils in there, you know. But what I found when I got it, there was a little pea-shaped stone that jammed in the top. It's on the shelf in the by the sink, and it had stopped any other dirt going in, which is just as well, because my brush won't get in there. My smallest brush that I've got won't get into this size aperture, so I only had to give it a wash over on the outside, and due to the fact it was in ash, it cleaned up fairly good. So I'm pleased with that. I'm set to go. Do you want a question?
Yes, let's have a question. It's about time.
Now, lots of people yesterday were working on the premise of what will the questions be about today. Will there be questions on the Eiffel Tower, for instance? Now, we've done those before, because that's not the first Eiffel Tower we found at that dump. I think somebody had a love of France, because we found a plastic Eiffel Tower which is around somewhere on the same dump, didn't we? So we've had Eiffel Tower before, but a few people did guess at one subject which I decided to put in, and some thought that Lexi may have an advantage because they think she's an expert on lavatories.
Right.
And the reason
There is a reason for this.
The reason for that, before you go trying to jump to conclusions, is because she recommended a book on lavatories when Caroline did a bit of a history of the loo, wasn't it, dear? And also we've had some information in the comments, because Bill Ellis was saying that he heard Caroline's definition of the word loo on How, that great TV show from the 70s. And he said, but he also added during that explanation on How that some of the external facilities in France had louvedeaux on them. So that was another place where the word loo may have originated. It was from the louvedeaux.
So there we go.
So there we go.
2 reasons.
So that, with all that being said, and with the fact Caroline found a dirty great big chunk of toilet and thought it was something else for about 2 minutes, and then realised what it was, I'm going to ask you a lavatorial question, and it may not be the only one tonight. Sir John Harrington of Somerset, England, was a 16th century author, poet and courtier, who, while temporarily banished from the court for writing risque stories. He spent his time in exile working on an invention, and in 1596 he came up with the first flushing toilet, which he called an Ajax, which may be where the company used the word Ajax for the cleaning fluid. I don't know. But the question is this: having given you his name, having given you the date, having given you the name of the loo, can you tell me which court was he banished from?
Watching.
Was it A, Elizabeth I, B, Henry VIII, or C, Charles I? 1596, he was banished from the court. Who was the monarch? Was it Elizabeth I, Henry VIII, Charles I?
And let me check the right. So we've got our first answer in. Can you see that one there? You got it?
Yeah.
Right. So while that's coming in, I'm going to pop up Jazz here. Says I have that bottle. That's what a coincidence. But do you know what was in it? Do you have any idea, or did you get it empty? I'd love to know.
Who said that?
Jazz here.
Jazz here may have mentioned in a comment. Somebody did that. They got theirs off eBay.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think it may have been Jazz here said they got that bottle off eBay. Theirs probably got 4 legs. I was only got 3.
Didn't pay £1 million for it, did you? That would be good, wouldn't it? I'd sell mine for $500,000 because it's got a bit leg missing. Right, oh, lots of answers coming in. Well done, everybody. A good mix. I guessed this wrong, but I am useless with monarchies in Britain. UK monarchy and USA history are really my worst subjects, I think.
Yeah, I've got an awful lot of answers.
Yes, lots
and
of
I'd say it's running at probably just under 50% correct. And an awful lot of people going for one that I didn't expect. I threw one in for a bit of a to try and catch people out.
Yeah, all the glitter says, talking of toilets, is the answer a number 1 or a number 2?
That's why I was careful to do A, B and C on this one.
Oh, Jazzy said she thinks the bottle was Avon.
Right, that would make sense.
They did used to do a lot of those fancy shaped bottles, didn't they?
My mum used to flog Avon, 45, 50 years ago.
My auntie always, every year, gave us, I think it was Moonwind talcum powder, and as a child we never used talcum powder, so I had loads of it in my drawer.
I tell you what,
away, but never used it.
I've never worked out why they put soap on a rope, but when Mum worked for Avon, we had a fair bit of it for Christmas.
Yeah. So you could hang it in the shower, darling. So
we didn't have a shower.
You hang it on the tap. Don't be fussy.
Now, in the UK, were we just poor or what? Or did everybody else have a shower in 1970?
Yeah, there weren't many around.
You didn't have a shower in your house? No. Showers were for posh people.
Right there.
Right, here we go. I'm going to give it away simply by telling you one fact that wasn't in the information I gave you.
Right.
The monarch that banished him was not only his monarch, but was also his godmother. Which kind of, the reason I left that out, I think, is obvious, because I've had a shortage of queens to get in around the 1500s. So those who said A, and the first of them was A, Amanda Bell. The second one was the Kentish Mudlarks Channel. They got A, and Ed Creative got A. So well done on that one. There's 3 in a row.
Well done. Sorry, I get distracted then.
First 3 answers in, first 3 correct answers. That doesn't happen often. They were fast and they were furious and they were right. So yeah, he was the Queen's godson and he was writing risque stories, so she banished him from her court.
She can't be the Queen.
And while he was away, he decided, well, I might as well do something in exile. So he invented the very first flushing toilet.
It's really clever. Although now you think, well, it's obvious. When nobody'd ever seen one before, it must have been quite a successful thought.
What he did was he got a large circular carved out thing with a hole at the bottom. He then lined it with pitch so that it would be waterproofed. He put the tank in the room above. Run a pipe down from the room above to give the gravity.
Very clever.
And then you could release the siphon on the room above and it'd all go down. So there we go. Now you know. See, I'm a font of information. I'll have forgot all this by tomorrow.
Oh, Docking Bay 51 said tin bath. We were the same. We had our first bath, proper bath, you know, with taps and plumbing, in 1970. I was 6, and my father built, because he was a builder, well, he was a builder's labourer, so he had all his mates to come in and build. We had a posh bathroom and kitchen extension, and there was a real bath in there with taps and a plug and everything. Until then, we had our tin bath, and my mother would do the washing in the twin tub, and then put the little pipe into the bath, get all the warm washing powder, washing water, put it in the bath, and then we take it in turns. My elder sister, then it was my mother, then it was me, and then it was my father, because he worked in the mine, so he was the smelliest, or dirtiest, blackest.
Yeah, those were the days. Our first bath went in the corner of the kitchen. We didn't have a bathroom. All the plumbing was there. That's where you washed everything. Normally you had the bath and dragged it either into the kitchen or in front of the fire. So the first bath plumbed into our house was plumbed in the corner of the kitchen, with a piece of board on the top that lowered down on a hinge just to cover it, and then when you needed the bath, you lifted it up, run the water, had the bath, and then closed it back down. Oh, I tell you. Kids today, they don't know they're born.
You start sound really old.
I know.
When I were a lad.
I lost my walking stick this week, my one with badges on.
Lexi said we had the village pond.
I lost my walking stick, my one with badges on, which was quite sad because some of them badges I had off the kids long time ago. Long time ago. 25 years ago. There's one on there that Nathan brought back. He spent virtually all his money on a badge at camp when he went with the scouts. So I dreamt I'd lost my stick. And when I woke up in the morning and went to get my stick, it wasn't there.
No.
So I realised that I had left it somewhere, forgotten, and in the night I dreamt of leaving it there. And I believed it was in the local supermarket. And guess what, folks? I went there today.
Creepy.
And I got my stick back.
Whatever.
I got my stick back. So there we go. I have got my stick back. So I'm a happy chappy.
Christina said she was very young in the 70s, but they had a shower over the bath. Most American bathrooms would have. America was so far advanced on us, where we were virtually in the Stone Age compared to America. And what I noticed with America, when I look back at all the old, I don't know, I think it's pretty much the same now, is your appliances are so big in America.
If we watch...
We get a microwave, it's this big. You get a microwave, it seems to be this big.
A show like Bewitched would come over here, and you'd think nobody lives like that.
No, and the cookers were huge.
Your cars were bigger than our houses in the 70s. Fair play.
Everything just seemed supersized.
Yeah, you led the way, and we took a while to catch up, but we're having fun with all the bits and pieces now. Jazz Deer says, that's where the saying comes from, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. It's from the tin baths.
There we go, that makes sense.
You know, you accidentally tip it down the drain and you go, oh, there goes the baby.
Well, all our children were washed in the sink, in the kitchen sink, because when I first had my first child, went out and bought the baby bath, and by the time you fill it, then you've got to carry it to where the baby is while you've left the baby on their own. Then once you bath them and you've got them all ready, you've then got to carry it, sloshing everywhere, gets on the carpet, you're trying to pour it down the sink. So in the end I thought, and you're bending over, so I'm going to do it in the sink. And all 4 of mine were then bathed from then on in the sink. Just a towel on the draining board, bath them in the sink, and then just on the draining board, dry them off. And
Phyllis reassures us what we saw on TV wasn't the norm for most in America.
Wasn't it? Oh, no, right. I thought maybe everybody was like that.
I'm sure it wasn't, but it was a even compared to our TV, even when they did our posh things, they wasn't as big. And fitted kitchens, they hadn't come near really, a day. Beautiful. But America tended to lead the way, and then the rest of the world picked up the habits.
We had a lot of like American programs. I remember Rhoda. I don't think I understood everything that was going on in Rhoda, possibly. And she was just this young person, well, younger, probably wasn't that young, probably in her 30s, perhaps, I don't know. But she just had this fabulous life, and she used to go everywhere and see all these wonderful sights, and she had an apartment and things like that. And it just made this magical idea in my head of what America was like, and it probably was nothing like that. But that's what always sparked my imagination, thinking, ooh, I'd love to be there.
Mars Hall was saying bathrooms are required to be 15 foot from the kitchen for sanitation purposes in the USA now.
Right.
At one time in Wales, they said that a bathroom had to have 2 doors between it and the food preparation area. If there weren't 2 doors, it was considered substandard. But in Wales, if your house was considered substandard, you could then get a local authority grant to improve your house. Well, when the local authority realised how much money it was costing them to upgrade the houses, they decided it's all right, you can just have one door if you want to. They changed the rules.
Yep.
Because it got too expensive. But an awful lot of properties got upgraded at that time, and that was one of the criteria they could have it for.
Oh, Jenny said the side-by-side fridges out here are called American fridges. Same here as well, we call them the American fridges. Oh, they look great. They've got really big, heavy front doors, and oh, I'd love one.
I did.
And ice, water on tap, isn't there? Or crushed ice. Ooh.
Now, just looking back now, Sheila T said, you guys have tiny refrigerators.
We do.
But funnily enough, my mum went to work in London and she was living in the house of Sir Edward Halliday, and he had passed away and she went to look after his widow, and he was an artist to the Queen. He painted a number of her official portraits, and mum stayed on as housekeeper for the son after the mother passed away, and their house had a huge fridge.
Oh, it was massive.
Dirty, great big smeg thing with it. You had to pull with two handles to open the door. Massive.
No, it was only one, but it was just a very big cheating.
Yeah, I had to use two handles. It was a big.
No, I mean two hands. Yeah. It wasn't two handles.
No, I had to use two hands on the handle. That's what I meant. That's what I was trying to say to you. And
got there in the end.
Yeah, I got it in the end. And you opened it up, and this thing had been there for so long. You were talking when they probably shipped it in from the States.
Oh yeah.
Because they are wiring in that house rung in capocs along the ceiling because it had been in since Edison was a boy. But this fridge, the rust had eaten up the door about that far. And my mum just said, look, I've got a much better fridge than that. And dear old Uncle Steve turned around and he said, but it works. Fantastic. He was living in like a couple of £1 million house in the middle of St John's Wood in London, one of the most expensive places to live. And had beautiful gardens and a garage right in the centre. And there he was saying, but it works.
It might be interestingly enough. Phil's mum convinced him to have her fridge freezer because it was only like 2 years old, and within about 2 years it's broken down.
That one had broken down, the other one had gone for 40 odd years.
So the other one didn't look really pretty, but it worked.
As they say, they don't make things like they used to. They do not make things like they used to.
Oh, anyway. Derek's in. Hello, Derek.
Hiya, Derek. Anyway, shall I show a find? This was one of my latter finds on the show. It's a lovely bottle, Carter's, for quality products. And as I cleaned it up, I could see all the bubbles in it, in the glass, and the colour. Now, I don't know if it'll pick up. It is looking beautiful and bluey green here. But that's cleaned up beautifully. And that, as I said, I climbed up the bank in to get a little tiny, what looked like a medical snap top vial. And this was lying in the ground. Excuse me. And just that bit, the wind had blown the dust off, just that bit was exposed. And I pulled it out of the ground, brought it home, and that is a boot. That is an absolute boot. The number of bubbles and things in that, that's got to be a good few years. And as I always say, don't ever knock it there's a screw top, because screw tops have been around. You can have screw top and still be antique. They've been around a while. Admittedly, non-screw top can be older, but not necessarily. At the end of the day, every bottle of Beck's Blue that we drink isn't a screw top, and they were only made yesterday.
Yep.
But there we go, a lovely old screw top bottle, beautiful colour. And when you hold it, the ridges on there, the depth of the ridge and the corners.
Because it hasn't been in the river, I think. It was thrown into a dump and then it was bulldozed down, so it's never been in the water. And that's why, look how shiny it is as well. Usually they're what they call sick. They're really scratched and not very nice looking, but that is beautiful.
That is come out nice. So there we are. I was pleased with that.
Right, let's have another question because it's 9:30.
Okay.
Whoops.
Now then, somewhere around here there should be a bottle that had nail varnish in it.
That one?
No.
Okay, we've lost it.
We've lost it.
Right, we'll have to go on to something else.
Believe me, there is a
one,
bottle.
was it?
No, it's got to have been left in there. I'll go fetch it now in a minute. That's a Welshism for you.
Yeah, it's now in a
I'm going to
minute.
do it now in a minute. We often say things like that. We did find a little bottle, and at first I thought it was an ink bottle, and then we realised unless they were writing with pink ink in the 1950s, it probably wasn't ink. It was actually nail varnish. So our question is related to nail varnish. People have coloured their nails for centuries. But nail varnish is very much a 20th century phenomenon. The first tinted liquid nail varnish made with natural resins coloured with dyes was introduced in 1917. By which company? Was it Nivea, Garnier or Cutex? Nivea, Garnier or Cutex? Which of those three, A, B or C? Who do you think produced in 1917 the very first bottle of what we would recognise as a nail varnish?
Right, we've got a question from Linda Hardy. I notice you haven't been wearing masks. Why does Manky still wear his? Well, he heard the phrase social, what was it? Social influencer?
Yes, and he's got it into his head.
He thinks that because he's on YouTube now, some of these big YouTubers, they can really make a difference. They say something like pink is in and everybody wears pink, or
and he thought
don't drink Coca-Cola.
He did feel it was very important that he should make a statement.
Yeah, so
particularly, I think he's considering the idea of changing back and only using it when he's in close company with strangers.
But at the moment, he wants to keep wearing it because he wants to show that even though they're a little bit, sometimes you have to wear just a medical one or whatever, but wearing a mask can make you look quite stylish. He's convinced he looks stylish. I'm not going to argue. I won't get any peace if I do. So he just wants to show the world you can wear a mask and you still look good.
That's it.
So I think he looks quite good. I think Manky will look good whatever he does. He's just got one of those faces that looks good. Whatever angle, he's just style personified.
Somebody actually said in the comments this week, he doesn't need a mask, he doesn't breathe. He took that very personally, because he said you could also say he doesn't need wellies because he doesn't walk. You just have no imagination. There we go. So that's Manky's. Oh, there we are. Manky, you was hiding it.
Yeah.
There's the other Eiffel Tower that came from the very same dump.
I wonder if somebody collected Eiffel Towers.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. I knew it was around somewhere. Right then, let's have a look at these answers. Who thinks it's Nivea? Who thinks it's Garnier? Who thinks it's Cutex? And, ooh, there we go. You got the same top answer as me, you don't know.
I
That's
forgot
all right.
to stop
I'll
my
trust
screen,
myself.
so I'll leave that to you.
Yes, I can be trusted. There we go.
Right, let's have a look, see if I missed anything that...
Right then, here we go. Now, I'm not going to ask Adam how he knows this.
Right.
But he was the first answer in and the first correct answer.
Well done, Adam.
There we go. Adam's Advanced Adventures, Mudlarking, has said C, Cutex, followed by Richard Surridge, who said C, and then Ed Creative, who said, just to be different, 3.
We know what you mean.
And West Country Mudlarks were quick off the mark. They were straight in there. They were the second answer on the board, but I'm sorry, it was not Garnier. It was Cutex. They were the first people. 1917, so nail varnish. Again, if you find a nail varnish bottle, don't dismiss it as being modern, because that's 100+ years ago. So you could find a nail varnish bottle that's antique, genuinely antique, over 100 years old.
Lexi said, has Manky been tempted to go plane spotting like his cousin Coningsby Ted yet? There's a new channel out, and I'll spell this out. He's Coningsby, Coningsby Ted, and he's got a channel, and I find it really funny. He's been up in an aeroplane, and he just looks at
supersonic jet and all sorts.
And it's just very short videos, but it's really... Manky is completely sorted by it. He wants to go in an aeroplane now, so how am I going to get Manky in an aeroplane? It's very difficult to arrange. But
these days it is.
Yeah.
These days it's very difficult to arrange. Like the people from Britain found when they went to Portugal and suddenly had to rush home because otherwise they'd have been quarantined in an hotel for 2 weeks.
Oh, Dawn said, I've seen Cutex nail polish remover, but not nail polish itself nowadays.
Yeah, well, they originally came up with the nail polish. Perhaps they worked on the premise, if we sell the remover, we make more money.
Oh, Richard said, I beat Tom Burley. You did, technically, only because he's not in tonight. I don't think he is anyway. I haven't seen him. If you are in, hello Tom. If you're watching afterwards, hello Tom. Tim Tom.
There we go. Yes, it was interesting that we had Adam, Richard and Ed. They were the first 3 in with the correct answer. They know their nail varnish, these guys. They know their nail varnish. Right then. Any more finds for any more? I think so. I'm going to show this.
Well, Terry G said, did you see my answer after West Country Mudlarks? My screen shows mine this second. We'll give you an honorary second there because it's very difficult to sort out the orders. They seem to come in on different computers in different orders.
Where are we going? West Country Mudlarks.
Let's have a look here.
Hang on, I may have missed one. You know what I'm like.
Oh, Sarah said you could make Manky a hot air balloon. Or would you trust Manky in a hot air balloon? I wouldn't be able to fit in to keep an eye on him, I think. He'd never come back.
Who was it that was questioning about
Terry G.
Terry G. Right then.
Oh, Docking Bay 51 said if we ever meet up, I'll send him up with the drone. Do you think the drone would lift him? Now that would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? Flying him. I've been looking at drones, but how do you decide which one to get? They just, nothing, you get, if you look at the reviews, you get good, oh, this drone is rubbish. And look at another review, good, this drone is rubbish. I wouldn't know one over the other, and some seem exceedingly cheap. And you think, well, is that too cheap, you get what you pay for, or is it just that they're bargains? I have no idea when it comes to drones. And I don't think I'm going to buy one of these. Is it DJI or something like that, or Osmo, and they're like £1,000. So I won't be getting one of those.
Right. My computer automatically put me on top chat instead of live chat, so something could have been missing. I've now switched to live chat, so they have wiped out everything from halfway up the last answer. Yeah. So apologies if that didn't come out right, but I'm on live chat now. I don't know why on earth they do that. They put it on top chat, which means they select the chat that they think is relevant. How in a list of A's, B's and C's can they choose who's relevant? So there we go. So we're going to include you, Terry, yes. And that puts 4 on the podium. You can jump on the silver podium and balance carefully because you can't sue us. We haven't got enough.
Richard said the Mavic drones, that's the one. I just couldn't remember the name. Mavic, that's the one, Richard, thank you. And Docking Bay 51 said get a cheap one. Which one have you got? I'll have to check on your links on your page, see if you've got a link to it. There we go.
Terry G's on live chat. I'm on live chat now as well, Terry. Hopefully that's going to work out. And on the next question, we'll be able to see better what's happening. I keep forgetting to check that. I don't know why they do it.
Oh no.
It's crazy.
Crafty Karen's got Beach come and say, get a Mavic Mini or a Mavic Mini 2, as they are 249 grams, so under the weight limit. There's a weight limit?
For what?
I don't know. I have no idea. This is what I mean. I got no clue when it comes to buying a drone. Is it that you've got to have a license if they're over 249? I don't know. No idea.
Anyway.
Crafty Karen's have a Mavic Mini and it's cracking. Right. I take it you mean it's really good, not it's cracking down the side or something. Right then.
Right then. I said I would, and I did. I brought it home. My broken, busted, smashed up bottle. Because, as I said on the day, find me another one. That bottle, although destroyed by the situation it went through, has come out unique. And I liked it. And I've got a feeling I may be able to do something with that when I get my shed.
Yeah, like hit a burglar if they're trying to steal your goodies.
It's got a charm of its own. You know, if I just smooth off the edges, I'm sure I can find a use for that. And if not, it'll go in one of the drawers in my cabinet.
And then you forget, put your hand in and we'll be off to get you some stitches.
And my kids will have to get rid of it when I'm gone. When they empty my shed. Because I reckon that when I'm gone, Caroline will just lock the shed and leave it for the kids to empty when you're gone, won't you, love?
Probably.
But there we are. It's me broken bottle, folks. And as I said on the video, and I'll say it again because I mean it, it's sometimes the things we go through that make us unique. So again, for anybody out there who's been going through a tough time, remember you are one and only. You're unique. Careful with the tops, it is sharp.
Richard said, put a face in it.
Don't over there.
Make a mini ghost.
My excuse is I managed to wash it, but can you imagine trying to dry inside there? It's a rather odd shape now. But that obviously broke and was in the fire of the tip and melted and squashed. But beauty all of its own.
Right, do you want to see one of my bottles?
Go on then. Oh, that's your M-A-M-A-N-I. Amani, is it?
It's Amami. So it says Amami. I don't think it says Armani.
No.
It's a,
Amami.
so I think, is it? I can't reach the camera. This is why I like to stand up during the show. I can do everything I need to do. It says Amami. So I think there's possibly a copy type cheap version of Armani, or is there an Amami something? A-M-A-M-I. Oh, that's a bit better. What do you reckon? Is that a copy, or is that...
It's got that line round it, like as if you slip a cover on the bottom or a cap on the top. There's A-M, A-M. Is there an I?
Let's have a look.
Yeah, I think there is. I can't tell, it's so close to the line.
Oh, it may not be. It may be A-M.
Maybe A-M-A-M. Amam.
No, there is an I.
There is an I.
Amami. Nobody's coming up with what it is. Oh, Vintage Paragon said I saw an Armani in a knockoff shop in Lanzarote. I don't know. I've never heard. Oh, wait a minute.
It was setting lotion.
It was setting lotion. So it was called Amami, was it?
Yeah.
Amami setting lotion. Oh, look at that. So they put it in like a flask-shaped bottle. Looks like it should contain.
Probably wanted it to look posh and fancy.
It looks more like a brandy or some whiskey or something in it, doesn't it? There we go. Jill said, wasn't Amami a hair product, or am I getting confused? Looks like it was. There we go. So now we know.
Now, on the subject of pronunciation, our bottle. Another shout out for Oddie. Thank you, Oddie, for our 2 bottles of what we've been calling Ramoon.
Yes.
Now, the reason we've called it Ramoon is because we've looked at R-A-M-U-N-E and pronounced it in a European way and said Ramoon. But I've been doing a little bit of investigation and it seems we should have been saying Ramune. Ramune, which is intriguing because Ramune, the carbonated drink, do you know where they got the name from? They got their name from saying one of our words wrong. Because we say Ramoon, looking at that, now they tried to say lemonade, but they have no L in the Japanese language, so they stuck an R in, so it became Ramunade, and then that became shortened to Ramune. And they spell Ramune like that.
So there we go.
So it's actually...
We all speak a bit of Japanese now.
It's actually a Japanese way of saying lemonade was Ramune, and Ramune is spelled Ramoon, which is the fizzy carbonated drink which they have. And funnily enough, I've got a question in that. If you'd like to press the didgeridoo, I will give you a question on Ramune. Right then.
Hang on, that was the wrong one.
Right then. Okay. Although this is a Japanese drink from a Japanese company in Japan and is shipped around the world, the gentleman who introduced this to the Japanese culture was not Japanese. No, he was Scottish.
Well.
He was a Scottish pharmacist called Alexander Cameron Sim, and he is extremely famous in a certain part of Japan. Firstly, because he was very much into sport.
We've got some answers coming in.
And he founded the local regatta and sport club in the city that he lived. But he also founded the industry of Ramune, which has been producing this drink and shipping it around the world in cod bottles ever since. When I say ever since, how long ago did the Scots pharmacist introduce Ramune? Was it 140 years ago, 100 years ago, or 40 years ago?
Right, I'm going to start counting from now because we've already got about 20 answers in before you've asked the question.
So where are we counting from?
We're counting from about there. You see that one? Oh, there you can see that one then. If you look on your screen for the conversation. I've lost it now. There we go. So the first answer is, oh no, people are putting down how many years it was. That one. So the first answer is this one here.
Right.
Okay. You got that one?
No, it's hang on.
Is it?
Where are you?
Further up, some of those answers I think were coming in
Yeah, but what have you got?
Just a second. That one. Ooh, we've got a debate going on here. You're confusing us. You're confusing us.
So not that one.
No, that was in ages ago. That was in while he was still asking the question.
And that one.
Yeah. I think the first one's right before you even got to what.
So that one was in before, was it?
Yeah.
Right.
I think so.
Because you'd recognise those.
I'm trying to watch, and then when Phil says the question on his screen, then I start watching. So, ooh, you little minxes, you. Oh, and happy birthday for the twins tomorrow, Laura. Laura Furch's twins' birthday tomorrow. She's wrapping the presents. Right, I can go to the bottom now then.
So we're saying that one there, was it?
Yes.
And then that one.
We may have got this wrong. It was a bit difficult, but I'm pretty sure these were the ones who came in after the question was asked.
Right. Okay, folks. Thank you for all your answers. Those who answered before I'd asked the question, and those who answered after. But answering A, B and C beforehand makes it very complicated for picking the winners. So I'm going to announce the winners as and from when Caroline looked at the list and I had actually uttered the numbers. In which case, and in fairness, there's no denying that this person must have heard the question because they wrote the number. They've written 140, and it was 140 years ago. In fact, it's 137, that's why I said approximately. 137 years ago, cod bottles and lemonade became buddies in Japan and started a phenomena. And the kids in Japan would never let them change the bottle because they loved the marble in the top.
Understandable.
They love the noise of it when they're drinking it. It's the bottle is the selling point now of the product. Mm. So that's fantastic. So there we go. So that answer of 140 that Caroline spotted in after asking the question came from Elizabeth Robertson Burley, followed by Dawn Zed, who had 140 years ago.
Well done.
Written in full, 140 years ago. And then I'm looking for an A, and then the A that comes up is Louise Gehring.
Well done.
So there we go. But just to give a mention to the cheeky monkeys at the top, because Fee in the Shed, quickly followed by Dan Fetters, immediately followed by Lexi B, gave A before I'd given out the three numbers, we believe. So they're worthy of note, although they're not being put on a podium today. Right. There we go.
It's been a long day today. Charlotte asked, where can you buy Ramune? And yep, somebody came in and said Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's do it.
Audie bought this from an Oriental food shop in Cardiff. So you go into, you get these big Chinese supermarkets and Japanese supermarkets. Sometimes they're a bit of everything. Check those out because that's where Audie got ours from. And I would imagine they'd be cheaper there, but I'm certainly not sure.
And I think it was Bill told me that they were selling it in Morrison's at one time, but they stopped.
Right, I've never seen it in Morrison's, but I wasn't looking until lately, so... But
yeah, Sainsbury's I've heard do it. They ship it all over the world. It's a massive, massive company, drinks company. And started by a Scotsman 137 years ago. Right then, I'm now going to answer the question.
Sister said, I could have my daughter-in-law Masako send me a bottle from the Japanese market in Portland. You say Masako, we knew a Japanese lady and she was called Masuko.
There we go.
I thought, just caught my eye.
Right, I can now answer the question that was asked in the comments. And I'm going to answer this question in a way that may want those with headphones to remove their headphones for a moment or turn the volume down. I'll count to 3. This may go wrong now. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Whoever was asking, I thought you were listening as well.
I know, but I thought you would do something on the microphone. Go.
Somebody asked, does the whistle work? After digging out a load of mud and giving it a good scrub, the Acme Thunderer, thunders once again. How long it's completely corroded and rusted at the top there, as you can see. But as Caroline noticed on the day, the P was still in there.
Yep.
And that, I think, is a good advertisement for that particular brand of whistle. It's because the Acme company, of course, it brings to mind Roadrunner.
Yeah.
Because it was always the Acme company, wasn't it, that they were
dropped
using.
the safe with Acme written on the front.
Yeah, so there we go, the Acme Thunderer. If you want a recommendation on whether or not they are durable, they are durable.
Well, Sheila T's going to buy a cod bottle so she can make believe she found it mudlarking. Well, I did. It's still fun. Very silly, but still fun.
Caroline said, act surprised. I said, yes, dear. Have you tied it to the tree?
Oh, Crafty Caravan said, oh, my poor dog just flew off the sofa.
Sorry, I did give a warning, otherwise I'd have got a clip around the back of the ear off Caroline, because she'd just say, think of the people with headphones on, don't you, dear?
Now, Vintage Paragon said, why is it called a pea? Now, as far as I know, I think this is right. They used to put a pea in there, a dried pea, but then they found that they could make them out of wood and they would last longer. And there is a process by which they soak them and steam them to get them soft. And then they manage to squeeze them and poke them in the hole.
Poke them in there, and then they harden inside.
Yeah.
So yeah, originally they would have...
on YouTube, if you have a look, how do they put the pea in a whistle? I bet they'll have a video.
Oh.
Because everything
If they haven't got a video on YouTube, then it isn't real, it's magic. Because anything that can be done is done on YouTube. Including silly people wiring plugs while the power's on and all sorts, just to get a few views. We're not that desperate. So there we go. And just to show off my find, I give it a clean down there, but it's even cleaner now. That was my choice as favourite find of the day, that beautiful little green bottle. Because, as I said, it was a good example of what I wanted that day. I was looking for smaller finds, with the intention of having a lighter load. But of course it didn't work, because we found a lot of smaller finds, and we also found 2 bricks, including a brick I'd lost on a previous visit.
Yes.
Second time I've lost a brick.
I couldn't lift it.
Well, I weighed it on the scales, it was just short of 14 kilos. I put it on the scales that I weigh on. It was 2 stone, which is 28 £, and that's probably not what the backpack was designed for.
No.
So I had 28 £, on my back. And so it was pretty heavy.
It was.
Pretty heavy. But still...
Everybody loves your little bottle. It is cute, and just the colour, it looks much paler on the screen than it actually is.
Yeah, I don't think I can get an angle there actually.
No,
what if I do
it's
that
not
again?
really dark, but it's definitely got more colour than it looks like.
In the base you can see
what if you hold the white? What's against that? Yeah, that shows it a bit more, doesn't it?
It's got a lovely green to it. It's really nice. So I thought that was quite typical. We didn't pick up a lot of china. We decided not to because we were going for the little bottles, but that's one piece we picked up, which is cleaned up beautifully.
It really is nice, that.
So again, that's almost enough to be able to do something significant with. You know, you could set that in something and it would look lovely. Beautiful pattern, isn't it? Lovely colours. And the fact it's not just the pattern, it's actually embossed as well. There's, you can see at the bottom there, we've actually got the embossing as well as the beautiful pattern. I like that.
Right, we better have another question.
You think so?
Yep.
Right then, folks. Here's a bottle I found. And unlike this flask that I found,
Ian said hold the answer sheet up again. Don't be naughty.
And I wasn't sure if this was a modern bottle or not. I was thinking older because of the colour and also the top. So I was thinking it was possibly a vintage rather than one that's been thrown away by somebody who's that, because the youngsters go drinking down at the riverside and they throw bottles away, don't they? But the colour said no. Well, I've checked out and it is a vintage bottle, possibly 1950s, that one. And we have that insignia on it, which was quite nice. It's got the bird sitting on top of an emblem embossed into it. And the reason I'm showing you that is because that bird insignia embossed into this flask.
And stop cheating, I can see you.
Belongs to the Martel brand. Martel. Founded in 1715 by Jean Martel. Now, as I say, our bottle isn't from 1715, more likely from 1950. But the question is, what spirit would have been in this bottle? A, whiskey, B, rum, or C, cognac? What are you going to go for? Whiskey, rum, or cognac? A, B, or C, to be in a bottle that has the little bird on it, that was founded by a gentleman by the name of Jean Martel in 1715.
Right, some people are putting the word on there that isn't included in the questions, which is brandy. Right. So we have got a winner in though. There. You got that?
Where we... Ooh.
There.
Hammer.
We'll get there now. You go have a cup of tea. Chat amongst yourselves.
There.
There we go. You got it? Yep, you got it. Alright, so I can go back down to the bottom now. Whoa, lot of you guessing. Say it again, a couple of brandies later on. We didn't include that in the choices though. Right, you okay? You got your 3?
No, I went looking and I thought, yeah,
He's lost it again.
Change answers to X, Y, Z instead of A, B, C. Ah, that's a good thought on Terry G. So if people keep answering, then give sort of
so we can at least see
QRS
where they start coming
or something.
in properly, yeah.
Well done. I may use that on the last one.
Thank you, Jill.
Them all out. So we'll have to...
Plutonium, Richard.
Right, so
okay,
I think, so we got that one, and then that one, and then that one.
Right, here we go, and look at who's first.
Yes, now, I'd just like to say to all those who said brandy, that's why I specifically didn't use the word brandy, because I couldn't put the word brandy along with cognac, because they're a variation. It's a bit like port and sherry, but the company's famous as a cognac house. So that's why I use the word cognac. So for those who said brandy, give yourself a pat on the back. You were only a smidgen away from the answer we were looking for. But the answer we were looking for is cognac. Therefore, Itchy Feet Caravanners.
Well done.
Coming on the gold podium. Followed by Dawn Z. Oh, getting on a podium again at silver. And then Adele Khan.
Well done, Adele.
Adele Khan has got C as well. And Linda Peterson, you got the right answer, and you were literally smack in there just behind Adele. So you can stand right next door to the bronze podium coming in.
Now, there's a bit of a failing on this suggestion for different answers to the question, because Lexi's already in with A, B, C, X, Y, Z. So stop it, Lexi. You can't win with all 6 letters. Right then. Do you want to do another find?
I will indeed. Okay. This raised quite a bit of discussion. It's not posh, it's not fine, it's not grand, but it does stir a lot of memories with people who have had a spoonful of malt off Granny to finish off the day, because that is the style of jar that my grandmother used to get the malt out of, that used to be in the pantry by the front door at the foot of the stairs with the cold stone for keeping things cool, because there was no fridge in our house. And she used to give us a spoonful of malt. And that got quite a discussion going when I showed that, so I thought I'd bring it on tonight to show it a bit more cleaned up. And this one has got a few marks on it where the ash and that has discoloured it. But it still looks quite nice.
No, Crafty Caravans, malt. Most people like it. I've never had it. It is really sweet. It appeals to me because I just love anything sweet, but most people do seem to like it.
And back on this.
Crafty Garner said it makes my tongue itch. Ooh, no, you wouldn't want it there, would you?
Maltesers, Lynette says. Maltesers. And 2 other finds. Now, this one's got something on it.
Have a look.
Can you read that, my love? You've got the...
got me loop.
Just on the top there, there's something written. But while Karen's showing you that, I'll show you my whole one, because I found 1.5 glass bottle stoppers this time, but there we go. There's our little bottle stopper. Quite a nice one, quite dished on the top. Quite thin and dished on the top. Some of the ones we've had have been sort of more squared on the edge and, you know, round and flat. So I don't know if that indicates anything regarding age, older or newer, but it's somewhat mushroomed, see? There we go.
Adele said nothing like malt in a milkshake. That sounds nice. It actually says yeast bite.
Right, yeast vite. Oh, there we are then. Now we know.
So are they yeast vitamin pill type things? Because you wouldn't get yeast extract out of that.
Probably yeast and vitamins.
Yeah.
Because you could get brewer's yeast, that's supposed to be good for you, yeast tablets. You could get vitamin tablets, so perhaps somebody put yeast and vitamins together and decided if that's good for you and that's good for you, put them together and we'll make a fortune.
Because you couldn't even get your knife in there, so...
No, that'd be...
I don't know if you've ever tried to pour out, like, Vegemite or whatever they call it. It's not going to pour.
I would go with that idea, dear. That's what I would go with. And...
yeah, Vintage Paragon said it looks like a pill bottle. I agree, I think it is.
It's gone 10. Do you want to have the last question?
Let's have the last question quick. That is the one problem with sitting down. I get quite comfortable here. Normally I'm really tired by the end of the show for standing up for an hour, but I'm like, well, carry on all night.
Right there. Here we go. Back to the loo. And another Scotsman. There we are. So we've got another Scotsman and we're back to the loo. We're sticking with the Scottish loo theme. It was a Scotsman named Alexander Cummins who improved some years later on Harrington's design for his flushable toilet in 1596 by inventing the S-trap in 1775. That's the piece of the toilet that is shaped like an S and it's designed to keep water in the pan so that it keeps the noxious smells and gases from the sewer from coming back into the room. The question is...
Now you're going to have to change these letters to something unexpected.
Well, at the moment, only one person has...
We've got an X in.
Yeah, but that's because somebody suggested X, Y, Z. We've only got an X in, so we're not doing... That's right, it's the stink stopper. That's correct. All I want to know from you is, this gentleman from Scotland by the name of Mr. Alexander Cummins, what was his profession? Was he a doctor, a boilermaker, or a watchmaker? A, doctor, B, boilermaker, or C, watchmaker? Which were they? What was his job? The man who invented the thing that stops the bathroom smelling, what was his job? Was he a doctor? Was he a boilermaker or a watchmaker?
Ooh, I'm jumping around on this screen. There's so many answers coming in. Just as I think I've got it, it jumps. There we go. There's our winner.
Tell you what, in half jumping, isn't it?
Lots of answers coming in.
I tell you what, it was a while before we got a correct answer.
Three do come up in one place though. See, you've got there, then there, then there. So there we go. We do have our top three answers in.
Right.
So let's have a look and see.
Well done.
Oh, you've done really well, everybody, with all these guesses. Again, for me, it was a complete guess. I can't even remember if I got it right or wrong. Did I get it right or wrong?
I can't remember. I don't know.
Oh.
I think I actually told you that before
right.
I read the questions. Right. I told you my interesting facts about lavatories. Well, I think that was probably the biggest response of answers. That's probably because everyone waited until the word go and it all come in together.
Sheila T said plumbing courses are any topic we don't cover on this show.
I tell
so
you.
we'll talk about, well, just about everything.
As we say, it's always loosely connected to the Mudlarking video that we put out last night.
But very loosely.
Yes, but it's in the beginning it was easy enough, but then I'd be repeating the questions because we find such similar things. But it's a bit of fun, isn't it? A bit of fun. Like you'll be the only people out there that know Elizabeth I's godson invented the first flushing toilet, and he did it because he was bored, because he was in exile for writing risque stories in the court, and she told him off. How many people know this? It's important.
Well, Meredith has guessed butcher, baker and candlestick maker.
Well, the truth is, and I don't blame anyone for getting it wrong, because I put doctor in deliberately because I thought you're going to think the doctor invented it because of the problems with cholera and everything else with germs. It's better to have clean water in the pan than have the smell of the fumes coming back. I put in boilermaker because I had to come up with something that sounded like he did a job that would have given him access to the things. But the truth is, he was a watchmaker. The guy made watches, and suddenly he turns around and thinks, I know how to improve on the loo. You don't ask me how this works. The other guy, the guy who invented the first toilet, he's a poet and a courtier, and pretty much a spoilt little monkey that wrote risque stories and was godson to the Queen of England. And he invents his first flushing loop. Folks, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Don't knock yourself. You never know. You could come up with the next new thing. But it was Watchmaker, which means that she may have cheated to get to the top last time, but she's at the top this time because Lexi B,
well done,
Lexi's Larks and Crafts, gave us the answer C. Followed by Vintage Paragon,
well
UK.
done.
As I've said before, if you haven't seen Vintage Paragon's channel, get over there, have a look. You will be impressed. I was impressed. Excellent video style, but also excellent finds. And of course, Lexi B's got a channel now, hasn't she?
Yes, she has.
Yes, and I trust all of you have been over and subscribed to Lexi's channel. Caroline was telling me about that. And of course, 3 people with channels, because Crafty Caravanners,
check them out.
Go Beachcombing, check out their channel. We got three channel coming.
You can just watch YouTube. I find I can't watch all the videos I want to watch anymore because there's so many brilliant channels out there.
But if you're going to watch one thing over the rest of this weekend, I believe it's over the rest of this weekend. If I've got the times wrong, I'm sorry, but I'll give them a shout out anyway. Try and get in on the live show with Mick and Sarah on Document 51.
Tomorrow, 7:30.
They have now joined it takes a lot of courage to do a live show.
It does.
It does. It takes a lot to put yourself out there. We've been doing this now for 18 months. And we've been astounded that more haven't followed suit sooner, but I appreciate it's a big commitment. It takes a lot of courage to stick yourself in front of a camera and think we're going to go for an hour plus, and if we make an idiot of ourselves, then we know we're amongst friends and we'll all have a laugh together. So congratulations to Mick and Sarah. They've taken the plunge. They did it in style with virtual Mudlarking royalty as a special guest. That's one way to launch yourself on the planet. But we've done our bit because we've got Manky, so we're all right because he's a superstar as well.
Yes.
But check that out as well, because I'm sure that their live shows can go from strength to strength, and it's a new place for this community to be able to come together as well and spend time. So there we go. Well, thank you ever so much, everyone.
Creative said, don't think you've covered Russian candy. If I can hold some Russian candy, we could do that, couldn't we? Any excuse beat sugar. Right, oh, Sheila T said, will you invite Nicola White? I want to hear her Welsh accent. The problem we got with somebody like Nicola White, we could bring her down to Wales and we really work hard to get the fines, because it's, for some reason, our dumps are nowhere near as exciting as the dumps in England. So I think she'd be a little bit unimpressed if she came here.
James is using his F word again.
Oh,
goodbye,
James.
all. Have a fantastic week. You have a fantastic week too, James. And just to say, Janice Walker has come up with a solution. I was puzzled. Our watchmaker came up with the idea, and she said the watchmaker came up with the toilet smell solution because his wife told him to. She was tired of racing to be there first to avoid the smell. So there we are. We have not only given you history, but we have given you an explanation of history. As they said on that famous TV series, how? Okay, let's go.
Yes,
let's go.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. It's been a great night on the chat again. You've been very interesting to read.
153 people in.
Oh, brilliant. Before you go, if you could give us a thumbs up, that'd be wonderful.
Yes, and to 3 people who give us a thumbs down, we just like to say even thumbs down count as interaction, so thank you very much. You can't, as they say, you can't please all the people all of the time, but we've certainly pleased 81 people with thumbs up already.
It'd be great if you could give us a thumbs up before you go and get us to 100.
Yeah, it's 84. It's rising all the time.
So
we'll say our goodbyes. Thank you. Take care.
We'll see you all next time. But until then, don't forget, have
fun.
Bye.
Bye.